Meet the 16 years old genius Pelagia Zerbekia, or just Pela for short. Pela lost her mother on the day she was born, but she didn't let that stop her from achieving great things in life. At the age of 1 or lower, Pela attended Belobog Cadet School together with Serval, Kokolia, and Dun. She particularly excelled in cryptography and military studies. During her school days, she also formed a rock band together with Serval and Dun. Pela still plays as the band's drummer until now. After easily finishing school with a double degree at the age of 5 or lower, Pela would go on to work under Kokolia. In other words, she was a child soldier. Now, you might think that Hoyo probably just forgot about all these details when they decided on Pela's age. Well, about that, in one of Pela's messages, she asked Trailblazer for advice on how to become sober, meaning she was drunk from drinking a lot of alcohol. This would be illegal in almost everywhere if she was really 16. Realizing that Pela is now a minor, Hoyo sneakily updated the message to make Pela ask about how to fight sleepiness. But apparently they didn't change Trailblazer replies. So if you check your message now, you might see a drunk Trailblazer giving advice to a minor on how to become sober. Is sleeping off being sleepy even a proper English to begin with? And Dun now sounds like he got a really bad case of Alzheimer. Poor guy. Zilla was intended to be a throwback to Honkai Impact 3 and Honkai Gakuen Zilla. But that's precisely why she doesn't feel like she belongs in Belobog. For starters, Zilla is the only character in Belobog who wears skimpy clothes. Other characters wear clothes that offer them protection against the cold, which makes sense when you consider the planet they live on. Yet here we have Zilla boldly exposing her thigh in public. In hindsight, her abilities are also ridiculously overpowered. She can turn into quantum particles, become invisible, and even do teleportation. She's even capable at moving at light speed and live after image of herself. No one in Belobog can even do half of what she's able to do, except for maybe Kokolia, but that's because she has the Stellaron backing her up. Have I mentioned that her eyes also turn red when she uses her power? It's a reference to Honkai Impact 3 Zilla, but still, she's very much like an anime protagonist. And the funny thing is, her backstory implies that she was just a normal girl who yearns for family and warmth. I wonder why no one ever questioned how she is able to do those crazy feats. Dan Feng is a very popular but also controversial figure in Shenzhou. Some revere him for his prowess, and some hate him for his detached personality. His reputation has also even reached Hanya and Xie when they were still living in Shenzhou Changcheng.
When I was alive, Don Feng's reputation preceded him. To witness him now, an ousted criminal under a different name. How the world changes.
Which would be impossible. Let me tell you why. Vidyadhara can only live up to 700 years before they undergo hatching rebirth. Shenzhou Changcheng was destroyed in the year of 6300 SC, while the sedition happened in 7379 SC. If we even assume that Dan Feng was already 700 during the incident, he would have to be born around 6600 SC, more than 300 years after Changcheng's destruction. It's a mystery how Xie Yi had heard of Dan Feng before he even existed. So what is wrong with Jingliu? Well, everything, to be honest. Jingliu is someone who you should not listen to at all. Everything that she told us about the sedition were her own interpretation of the event, and many took her word as a gospel. There were many hints indicating that the sedition happened because Dan Feng was betrayed by the preceptors. But since Jingliu doesn't care about Vidyadhara politics, she chose to make her own story about the sedition. She believed that everyone loved Bai Heng, so Dan Feng and Yingxing must have wanted to revive her, which might be far from the truth. And since Dan Heng still cannot differentiate between what is right and what is wrong, he could not provide any solid argument against Jingliu's fanfiction. Jingliu's delusion has caused Blade to suffer for over a millennia. The poor man has been brainwashed into thinking that he really tried to revive Bai Heng. Speaking of Blade, We all know that his Mara would go berserk when he met Dan Heng, or as Kafka puts it, when meeting with familiar faces. So it's rather strange that he's totally fine when he met Dan Heng and Jing Liu here. In fact, he was very calm and rational, as if she never even had the Mara in the first place. What makes things more confusing is, in his voice line when asked about Jing Liu, he sounded like he was about to go mad.
As she brandished her sword, phantom pain surged through every part of my body. All because of her. Jing Liu, witness my every move, my suffering.
So, what the heck is going on here? Honestly, I really don't know. One more thing I'd like to add is that Blade has been brainwashed to believe that Bai Heng has been forgotten by everyone, which is a lie. There's a strait in Shenzhou Yaoqing named after Bai Heng. It's literally called the Bai Heng Strait, and it is one of Shenzhou's recommended tourist spots. So much for being forgotten, right? Blade's whole existence was a lie, and the poor man, tragically, has developed Stockholm Syndrome toward his abuser, Jing Liu.